What is up, people? It is Dave and Duncan back from Metal Epidemic for another album review. On this review, Duncan and I have been checking out the new album from Georgia-based Mathcore group, the Callous Daoboys. The band's new album, Celebrity Therapist, is out on September 2nd via MNRK Heavy and Modern Static Records. So, Callous Daoboys, lyrically, contemplation and self-awareness run throughout Celebrity Therapist. The whole album is about history repeating itself and how we kind of move in circles, states singer Carson Pace. It's 2 steps forward and 3 steps back with a bunch of people in my life. The album is me reflecting on those people, but realising I'm guilty of the same at the end of the record. There are a lot of fuck you songs because every heavy band likes writing those, but overall the lyrics are more introspective and quite loving. The album was produced by Corey Bautista and Carson Pace, with additional production by Dom Maduri and Ian Riley and Ryan Love, and then mixed by Corey Bautista and mastered by Chris Crummett. So, we checked out a brief article regarding time loops on a reaction video.
Great name for a song.
It is. And I'd heard the band previous to that, but yeah. I don't think you and Kyle had heard them at that point.
Like after I got over the ridiculous amounts of laughing about the spoonerism in the name,
yeah,
fucking in itself genius.
Yeah,
we sat down to watch this, and I knew absolutely. I was expecting a full-on piss take parody band. Song hit, and by the end of it, I was like, just inject this in my veins, please. What do I do? What, whose dick do I need to suck to get this? Turns out no one's, because all I had to do was wait for the promo to come through. So that's how eager I was, though. I'm just saying I would have if it would have got me quicker.
Nice. So 7 members in this band, Callous Daoboys. Their last album, which I believe
the metric measurement for that is not quite a Slipknot.
Not quite.
Almost. It's a Baker's Slipknot.
And their last album, Die on Mars. If you've not heard it, it is just chaos on fire. That album, it is just. You know, it's a kind of chaotic hardcore. You've got the kind of disjointed mathcore tendencies. Very reminiscent, and it's not the first time we'll mention this band, very reminiscent of the Dillinger Escape Plan.
Oh,
hard to get away from that.
I didn't have them in my notes, Dave.
Did you know? I enjoyed that album. That album. It wasn't a perfect album or anything like that. It was it was quite maybe a little bit messy in places, and maybe lacked a little bit of a hook to kind of balance out some of the chaos. But have they righted any of those wrongs on Celebrity Therapist?
I love the fact that you're setting up the question for yourself. I'm not listening to the previous album, so I can't answer that. I can only tell you what my listen of the band,
okay,
first time entity on the only album I've listened to was.
Well, I'm glad I asked the question, because I'm going to answer said question. This is, musically is just as batshit crazy. Like, they're still pulling influences from bands like Dillinger, even like old Genghis Tron, the Chariot. It's got that very
ETID.
Yeah, I'm coming to them.
Like it ain't nothing but a fucking thing.
Yeah, 100%.
And it's not like new.
No. We're
going back in time.
Yes. Yeah, it's got that kind of like free flowing kind of free flowing kind of bedlam to it.
Yeah.
But what the main kind of thing from this album is, this band have leveled up. They have just gotten so much better since that last album. The switches between the kind of the mathcore, like that kind of the off-kilter rhythms, into those like kind of savage bursts of like hardcore, and then something cleaner and almost like sometimes kind of jazz inspired. Those transitions are just so almost kind of seamless on this album, whereas they felt a little bit kind of more disjointed on the last one. I can hear a clear kind of improvement in the songwriting department on this release. But I think what they've done on this album, which is even more important, is they've managed to kind of balance out the chaos with more of a hook. They've given you an album that sticks rather than an album that becomes kind of lost in that kind of like a frenzy of ideas, which is something that Die on Mars was a little bit like. It was just a bit too off the wall. There was nothing that kind of that stuck with you afterwards. Just that kind of hooky moment that pulls you in and makes you want to kind of go back for more. And it's done in different ways on this album, but mainly through the kind of various vocal styles and ideas on this release. The main vocalist, Carson Pace, just starting with him, he is a kind of incredible ability to create all these different sides to his voice.
Yeah.
That gives each track something different. He can do the kind of the psychotic, he can do that like scorched earth kind of vocal, but he can also jump to something like Fall Out Boy style alternative.
I had there was a couple of moments in this where I genuinely, and I hope they do not take offense to this, felt like, see if someone had told me this particular section, context not known, was from the new Panic at the Disco, I would believe 100%. It like any heartbeat. I would believe it, because it is that level, it's that range, and it's that fucking good.
100%. Yep. You get a lot of that on like tracks like Star Baby on this. Then you've also got the addition of Whitney Jordan. She's delivering another vocal layer on top of all that. And I think that extra voice in there just makes so much of a difference. Like, it just opens the tracks right up.
Harmonies are incredible.
Yeah. She's got a stunning tone, but when they pair up the kind of dual vocals on the title track, that is just an absolute home run. A bit more, and the placement of that track is very good as well. It's in the middle of the album. It's quite restrained, so it's a very good kind of middle of the album kind of.
It's also a surprisingly smart track as well, in that it deliberately breaks in the middle, and then gives you a movement to the following song, which actually feels like part of the existing song and the next song, which is just like. I had to look at it as well. I was like, I need to like first listen, you don't read the tracks or anything, you just let it play and all the rest. And I was like, right, I'm going to go back to that track that, is just like starts off with the melody and all the rest. Could not fucking find it. And I'm like, so where the fuck is this? So back through in the listens, and I'm like, oh, there it's here, look down, fucking dead center and title track, which also is called title track, which made me smile. I was like, these cheeky motherfuckers. But it's right in the middle of it. It's just like that sort of stuff. That level of songwriting and like composition on an album is not even just like a band leveling up. It's just like they're very spatially aware of absolutely everything they're doing on the album, which to me, like, is we're not worthy.
Yeah, definitely. And I think what's clever is when they kind of bookend those kind of melodic parts with something more chaotic. It kind of stands out even more. Field Sobriety Practice has that kind of like back and forth between, it's got this kind of like breakneck intensity, and it's got the kind of soaring melody, which is a little bit kind of Rolo Tomassi at times. Or the clean section near the start of What is Delicious? Who Swarms? And what's cool is they only do it once right at the start of the song, but it's so catchy and it sticks in your head even though they don't come back to it. And then on top of that, you've got the synths, which are scattered all throughout the album, and these like they're creating this nice balance and space when it's needed, but also adding in a bit of texture and something more kind of glitchy in the mix as well,
ominous as well in parts. There's like tone, this level of like an ominous tone, and it's there and gone. Like, it's not like the deathcore bands that have it all the way through the song.
No, they just kind of throw it in and take it back out. But that's also the same with Amber Kreisman, which she's doing the electric violin again. Like it just comes in, and it just kind of creates almost like an uneasy feeling at times. You heard it on a brief article regarding time loops, and but it's so cool when they just bring that a little bit in and then take it back out. I think that's really clever. I think that's the balance is what they've really nailed on Celebrity Therapist. They've not overstuffed it. Even though I'm telling you there's so many things going on here, it doesn't become overbearing, which an album of this style with so many members could easily become. And it never sounds pretentious either. Like, you know, it's not like they're trying to just show like, oh, let's show how technical we really are for the sake of it. It all feels really well placed, and they know exactly when to kind of take the foot off the gas, let the album breathe a little bit, or push it towards something ridiculously heavy, where they kind of like, they just strip out all that, like all the kind of technical stuff, all the fretboard kind of wizardry, and they just simplify things. And this is where the every time I die thing came in for me. It's those moments where they strip it back and they just drop in this big kind of monster riff with lots of cool little stops and breaks in it. And I was just like, that's like old school ETID. That is
it's hot damn.
Yeah,
exactly. It's hot damn as fuck.
100%. Yeah. Really cool.
It's HDAF. Hot damn as fuck. HDAF. That's what we're referring to that whenever we hear anything that sounds Every Time I Die from now on. It's HDAF.
Yeah, I mean, I love that era of Every Time I Die. Like, that Hot Damn album is one of my favourite releases of theirs. So it's really cool to hear that type of stuff thrown in here as well. I love the fact that as technically impressive as this is, it's got a really quirky side to it. Mm-hmm. You know, like as Carson said, that they're covering some serious topics on the album, but there's also like a dark humour comes through on this album as well, which I really enjoyed, because you're almost getting like a bit of their personality coming through in the music as well, which was really impressive. I love this. Like, I think this is an awesome release. Musically, vocally, production is absolutely spot on as well. I think it's really well done across the board. Really enjoyed it. I think it's, as I said, a clear step up from the last album. So yeah, well done. Really enjoyed this one. What about yourself for a first timer? What did you think?
So this is like beyond what I wanted. We spoke about this briefly yesterday, that like after a brief article regarding time loops, I was in. Like, they had me. That single had me in completely. And when you listen to the album, that's when you only realise that's just one tiny facet of what the band actually deliver. And that's the exciting part of it, because the album never really rests on any laurel at all at any point. What you like rightly put on paper should feel too disjointed and, you know, not go out its way to garner re-listen. But this is the other way around, and I think it's because of the utilization of the different techniques they have that's their weapon. Like, you imagine being an A&R guy, right, and hearing this album for the first time, and you hear those sickly sweet, pristine, marketable, I could sell millions of this section here, and then you're hit with like sporadic jazz right after, and you're like, what do you mean that's the only time I'm getting this? I love it. I think what it shows is they are musically very, very intelligent. Like, not only because they can mix those styles in, but also that they themselves know that they could very easily. That we talk about all the time, that the accusation that's flung at a lot of metal bands, the more extreme you get, was all noise. It's not real music. I'd love to see them write a song that endures the test of time. They couldn't fucking do it. Well, yeah, they can. They just, that's not where their interest lies. It's try it the other way around. Like, regardless how much the internet is trying to tell me that Ed Sheeran's going to write a song with Cradle of Filth, prove it! Make that man write a blast riff, and then I might fucking believe it. And on this, I hear elements of jazz, I hear elements of math rock, I hear elements of just chaotic hardcore, punk pop, conventional rock, full on like avant-garde, like kind of, I mentioned it before, that Panic at the Disco full spectacle style of delivery, and none of it feels half-egged, like a quick way to utilize a gimmick. All of them are like expertly executed and also perfectly placed, and that just to me blows my mind. I know you've been walking this earth this year saying this is the year of hardcore, and I know you really want to push that, but I'm now thinking this is the year of the wave of Dillinger Escape Plan inspired bands. I'm hearing a lot of it this year, and I'm hearing a lot of it that seems fucking of the same level, if not, dare I say it, slightly better. Like that, it's like everyone that's wanting to do. There was a while there, and you mentioned it earlier on. It's difficult. They are the not the first band to do kind of math metal, but they were the first band to become big doing it, right?
Yeah.
So as a result, every band is going to be compared to them.
True.
And the fact he started mashing in those elements and more kind of popular, like Greg Puciato doing those kind of melodies and all the rest, expands that sound out. So if any band does that, once again, it's more Dillinger. But what Dillinger didn't have that these guys have is that like full on Mr. Bungle-esque, like just we can do this. You know, we can. Oh, you want jazz fusion? Here's jazz fusion. You want a bit of pop? Here's some pop. And guess what? It goes together because that's how music works. And these guys have it on tap. The use of instrumentation is mind-blowing. Like, absolutely mind-blowing. Like, every instrument here is utilised fucking perfectly. You mentioned the synths earlier on. Weird to have a synth player that's using it for, like, melody, for sound effects, for ominous, but all making it sound, once again, like it should be there, and all coming from the same instrument. It's like, how many bands have a keyboard player that just pushes one fucking note because that's the doom note? You know what I mean? It's like, it's the attention to the craft there. The violin stuff is, once again, it's utilised very smartly. Sometimes it's for effect, sometimes it's to amplify what's going on. The guitar work is fucking mind-blowing. The bass work is fucking mind-blowing. The drums are fucking great. And then you come to the vocals. Melodic hooks that will be in your head after you listen to this, like earworms, like the end of Star Baby. Like every time that album finishes, I'm singing it for 20 minutes on loop. The household can't fucking stand me at the moment. But you get those elements there. The harmonizing of the vocals is just it's lush and it works and it's cool. And then you get those ferocity moments of just pure chaotic pent up aggression. And then the Every Time I Die stuff. It doesn't have the southern feel of Every Time I Die at all, but it has, essentially, it's like a distilled version of it. It's like what would happen if Every Time I Die didn't have the, you know, all those bits, but still had the same kind of hardcore intensity. And it's in there, and very much like you said, it's these little palate cleansers in between movements that aren't utilised too long, that are the perfect fucking length, and then take you to the next one. It's such a good album. It's such a good album. I've been touting this year, and it made my top 10 of the year thus far. Like, Comedian is a fucking great album, and it utilises a lot of things. I would love to see these guys one tour with them, because I think that'd just be fucking amazing. I think where Comedian was indulged a little bit too much. And some stuff, like specifically the back end of that album, really focuses on the melody, where the front end's a bit more punchy. This album seems to have been like, well, no, you can do that in the whole album. And that's maybe where this one levels up above that, because the balance of everything is just pristine. This is really fucking good. Like, really, 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 really good. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And I might as well say it. This will, barring like an act of God, this will be in my top 10 this year. That's how much I'll listen to it on repeat.
Nice.
I didn't have to listen to it today. I probably shouldn't have listened to it today, because I was listening to something a bit more dense and full on. But I was still playing this today. So I think this is fucking great.
Nice. Okay, so scores for the new album from the Callous Daoboys. This is a definite jump up. I think it's not here. You doing some sort of countdown? Oh, really?
Come on, swing in with it.
You really?
Don't be a bitch. Don't be a bitch.
I wasn't going 5 on this.
Oh, you're going to regret this so much, man. You're going to be at the end of the year with your dick in your hand.
No, I think it's a 4.5. That's the score I had for this album. I think their last album was probably sitting about a 3-ish, maybe 3.5, possibly a push, but I think this has jumped up another level, to be honest. I think they've got more in them, to be honest. I think they could do even more. Just, you know, what they've given you, the palette stuff they've given you on this, I think they could do even more. I don't think every track on here is perfect either.
What? Let's find words.
Sorry. And I think I was just the one other thing I was waiting on was that kind of almost kind of goosebump moment. That's my 5-star spot. That's when I'm like, yes, this is it. That's the 5. That's when that happens. I didn't get that with this album, but it's very close. So it's a 4.5 from me. You're about to spaff a 5, aren't you?
Like, you are dead inside. You're like dead behind the eyes, like a fucking shark, like a doll's eyes.
Comparing it to the other 5s that I've given out this year, it's because I've had that kind of like more kind of emotional kind of connection with it. And that's for me, that's my 5. That's where I go. Like, that's 5 stars when I have that kind of moment. So I didn't have that with this album, but they've definitely got it in them. 100% they've got it in them.
I think this band probably could do an album better than this, but I still think this is a 5-star album. To me, this, unlike you, I can't, like, I listened to this, I've listened to this 6 times, right, in total. Right. Mm-hmm. And even on the 6th listen, I was sitting there going like that. There's nothing in here, like, at all. It's obviously just me that has this feeling. There's nothing in here that I think can be improved upon on the context of this album. Like, all the songs just work so fucking well for me. This to me is a statement. This is like this is like, whether this is them on a new label, I would imagine this is a bigger label than the previous one. Guesswork. But this to me is a full-on statement of intent. Like, these guys are here and you're not ready for them, and you better get ready for them because they're about to fucking rock your world. It's a 5-star. It has some of the best melody I've heard this year, like catchiest best melody I've heard this year, and just great precision in songwriting. I don't get the goosebumps thing that you're talking about. Right. I just go on cold hard facts. Facts on the page are, this is a 5-star album, Dave. A 5-star album.
Yeah, it's kind of similar to movies for me as well. Like, when I have that kind of like emotional kind of connection with it on whatever kind of level, that's what kind of pushes it into that, like, the upper realms of the the top tier.
I prefer, like, and I think this is where I come down. Like, I gave 5 to a Comedian, and I would give 5 to this. I think this is better than Comedian, actually. So, but I wouldn't knock the other one down to a 0.5. I keep that as, because it's a fucking great album. I always come down, like, what would I change if I was in the band? What would I change? I'd change nothing about this. Nice. So yeah, they need to get over here. They have a big label behind them, so make that happen. You give me the dream tour of MNRK bands that I'm aware of at the moment, which is Crowbar, Rolo, Tomassi, and the Callous Daoboys on the same bill. It doesn't sound like it'd work, but at the same time, it'd totally fucking work. You hear me, MNRK? Make it fucking happen, motherfucker.
There you go. You've heard it here.
Can I get a t-shirt? Because their t-shirts were not good before. That's a conversation for off air. Let's not hold this podcast up with Duncan trying to buy merch.
Callous Daoboys, Celebrity Therapist, is out on September 2nd on MNRK Heavy and Modern Static Records. Links below to the band, their Bandcamp, Facebook, all that. You can check it out. Let us know what you think. Album's out very soon. Drop your comments in. Let us know what you think of the album. That is the review. Thank you very much for checking it out. We'll be back with another review very soon, but until then, take care. Speak to you soon.
Bye, everyone.
But